Alright, so this is video deck tech uh, deck breakdown of the white-black control featuring Edgar, the Charmed Groom, star of the deck amongst other things here. So we're going to be going over the card choices that we made for this deck and talk about some strategies, uh, matchup potentials, and so forth, strengths and weaknesses regarding this deck. So, regarding the current meta as it is, with uh, the neon block, we have a lot of control because we have a lot of board wipes. So, it's a lot of control meta, and you're going to be expecting to come upon a deck, a control deck, and get hit by at least two or three, if you're lucky, board wipes in your course. So, this deck is one of those decks that provides that type of gameplay for those aggro players that hate it so much. So let's go over the cards that we chose for this and explain why they're here. So in the one drop station, we have the usual control suite of Eyetwitch and Shambling Ghast. Eyetwitch obviously is there to fetch your sideboard of lessons. Here I have environmental sciences for in case you need to draw out some mana, necrotic fumes, because you're always going to have weenies and tokens to sack to exile. Um, Also noteworthy in this deck as far as the removal, besides the board wipes, uh, the spot removals aim to exile. So we just completely exile problem cards and they never come back again in case a control player has blood on the snow or something like that. Um, so yeah, the sideboard again, pest summoning is just there. Intro to Annihilation, versatile in the late game, and confront the past as usual. Either pull your dead planeswalker or kill theirs. Good choices. So besides that, we got Shambling Ghast, able to take out 1/1 creatures if you sack her or she dies. Or you can create a treasure token so you can start mana ramping to whatever you need to ramp to. Whether it be a turn 3 Edgar or turn 2 Faithbound Judge. Whatever you want, it can help you. Deadly Dispute is there to help sack these guys and get some card draws. Also, if you don't have those 1 mana drops, we do have token generators in the form of Edgar's Coffin, as well as 3 wedding announcements, which we'll go over soon. So next is the Rite of Oblivion, which again, due to the token generators, we wouldn't really have a problem of sacrificing something to exile a threat. Vanishing Verse, also very good instant speed, um, great removal, but obviously there's some uh, cards that get away from that. Kaya, one of them, and Kaido as well. Escapes the Vanishing Verse. So you'll have to deal with it in other ways with Rite of Oblivion. That's pretty much why I upped the Rite of Oblivion from I think maybe 1 before. Now I have 2 at least. The flashback is also great there, just due to the fact that you're going to have some multicolored threats that you might need to get rid of. Meathook is great, also self-explanatory. Pretty much every control deck runs this. Um, a timely board wipe can swing a game between pinging life loss from your opponent and gaining life from that. So uh, next is Wedding Announcement, which is great for dropping tokens, making chump blockers, making sacrificial creatures for your spells, and also when it dies, it buffs all your creatures. Even having 2 of these on the field late game, when you drop an Eyetwitch, now it's a 3/3 flyer. Now it's legitimate semi-threat in late game. Faithbound Judge. Um, some people aren't fans of it. Uh, I could see why, but open him in a pack, and he gets used. He's really good in closing out against, say, control players who can't answer enchantments late game, for example. Uh, I've had control matchups that were decided basically on dropping this aura on the player and letting them think it over a turn on two before they scoop. So next, the 4 mana tier is Wandering Emperor. I only have one. I used to have 2 Wandering Emperors, but one's fine. She doesn't close out games on her own. Obviously, she doesn't have an ultimate that can do that, but she is versatile in a sense that you can instant speed summon her and exile a token or exile a creature rather, or drop a token blocker. So she's good in that sense, but I probably wouldn't run more than one of her. I don't want to see 2 of her in a game, especially. Baleful Mastery, just the one of. You don't really want to pay the 1 cost, but it's great to have that option to pay 2 mana to exile a creature or planeswalker at instant speed. That can really save your butt the turn before. So it's there just kind of an emergency kind of card. Sorin, such a good guy. What can I say? He is a card draw engine, uh, and he also makes tokens, and he's a closer. 13 damage, 13 life. That can end some games. And next is the start of the deck, Edgar. I often see a lot of players spend cards trying to trade cards for him. Um, Basically, unless you exile this guy, he's going to keep coming back. And why do I have 3 of them? Because sometimes I'll just piss him off and play a third, or second rather, on the field if my Edgar is already in coffin mode. That way I can have 1 Edgar on the field, buffing all my vampires, and 1 coffin just spitting out 2/2 tokens pretty much. So he's great because again, you're gonna be, or rather the enemy's gonna be wasting cards. There's just really good card advantage with him because they're gonna be wasting single cards on him, and he survives board wipes. So Doomskar, obviously great. You can pull it off turn 3 if you're against some weenie decks. Um, I'll probably put a third one in the sideboard now that I think about it, so that way if you're going against some early heavy aggro weenie decks that swarm you, you'll want to wipe them fairly quickly. You can't wait turn 6 into a blood in the snow. You kind of have to do it sooner than later. Lolth. Lolth's great because she's very versatile. You drop her. She creates 2 blockers that have evasion if you want to attack, and they also have reach in case they have creatures with evasion that want to try to kill her. And also the draw a card and lose a life. It's great to have that card draw engine. I rarely never use her ultimate, but it's there and could finish the opponent fairly quickly if you have that. 3 of her is great because they often will want to kill her pretty quick. Kaya is there. She's really good, exile permanents, so if you're against enchantment decks and so forth, you can start exiling those permanents, exiling planeswalkers and so forth. Yeah, just a really good card. Putting ghost form counters on your own Shambling Ghasts, great value for them. Last but not least, Blood in the Snow. Destroy all creatures, destroy all planeswalkers. Having those 2 options is great. And also having the ability to bring back your planeswalkers, or Edgar if he somehow ended up there, is also a great option to have. But it is costly, and it does need snow mana, which in here in the 2 colored lands you're diluting it with all the other non-basics here, in which we have, as far as the non-basics, 4 Brightclimb Pathways, 4 Shattered Sanctums, and just 1 Shineshadow Snarl. The rest we got a total of 6 plains and 8 swamps. that's just what we got to work with the mana base in this meta. So that's pretty much the deck. As far as the matchups, great against control. Obviously, it depends on the draw. Um, it's just all in really being able to generate more tokens and killing their threats and dropping your fatties and having Edgar on the field so that they waste a lot of cards on them. As far as aggro matchups against weenies, pretty good. You can stall a good while with your Shambling Ghast, your Eyetwitches, and now we get a Faithbound Judge in there. So they hold up for as long as you need to, basically, until you can get your Meathooks out or your Doomskars, and you start to stabilize, and from there you take it over. As far as other control matchups is concerned, again, it's a part of the draw. Who gets the right cards, who gets the board wipes, who gets the right planeswalkers, and so forth. Uh, Typically, in those situations, you'll really want to try to get a feel of what the control deck's strengths and weaknesses are. If you have a blue-black control deck that has counters, obviously you want to draw the counters out, play more cautiously, but not too cautiously. Mirror match, you already know how the deck works, so maybe you can learn a thing or two from them. Uh, Enchantment decks, you're going to have to try to use your spot removal on uh, problem cards like Hallowed Haunting and so forth. As far as the sideboard here, we already went over the lessons, so they're there. We have Duress for control matchups that have counters, so we can try to draw those out. Another Rite of Oblivion for removal. Another removal is Skyclave Apparition. Gold Blank is there for decks that like to dredge and dump cards in the graveyard. Exile the graveyard, pretty much. Path of Peril, Crippling Fear, pretty much for aggro matchups. That way you can do board wipes quicker and survive until you can stabilize, basically. So that's it. That's the deck. Been running pretty good with it, pretty consistently. Only losses really were just bad draws. I don't think I lost with this one yet. I know I've lost with my other decks in ranked, my enchantment deck, but this so far I haven't lost with it. But it's shown its resiliency, and out of the control decks, the white and black splash is really great for consistency and the card choices available to them. All right, let's see what we got here. Okay, so we got Edgar, Kaya, some lands. Seems like a slow hand. We'll see where it goes from there. Hopefully their deck's not too quick, otherwise not a lot of answers here. Well, they got red. Didn't play anything whole 3 turns. Alright. Get winning announcement. We'll get a little token gang going on over here. Let's see what he's got. That's why some of these rank matches, especially in the, I guess these tiers, are very just janky. Like Zorn, who plays Zorn? Zorn, really? Alright. Well, let's sack this guy. We're gonna need some lands. Cool. Let's drop a land in an Eyetwitch. Okay, why? This is a dwarf, I guess. I'll just block one, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. You know what? Let's get a lesson out. Huh. Well, might just use this to get some chump blockers. Could play Edgar. Or I could just put a bunch of chump blockers. Huh. I don't know what he's got though. Should I put Edgar or a bunch of chumps and see what he draws into? Yeah, let's do that. Let's just try to get a feel of what he's got. Okay. Get a treasure token. Magda. Oh, that's why he's got the Sorin. He wants to make some treasures. He's gonna try to pull out some dragons when he's got enough treasures. We'll block. Let's see what he's got. He's probably gonna pull something out. Unless he wants that to die. He's got at least 3 open mana, so we'll see if he uses up his treasures. And there it goes. Dragon's Fire. Hit it with 3 damage. Okay. Huh. Alright, so you do have dragons. Not sure why you wasted tokens on that, or your treasure tokens, but it's time to meet Edgar. Let's see what you're gonna do about him. Nah. Not trusting you yet. Oh, okay. No trample. He has 3 tokens. Alright, we'll trade with Edgar. Fine with me. More vampire tokens. And should I put Kaya down and exile Magda, or drop Sorin? And we're gonna kill Magda. Probably shouldn't have sacked that lifelink one, but whatever. Let's get Eyetwitch and Ghast him.
Nothing on Innistrad is free.
Let's have one. Test out waters. My board wipe, we'll see. I put out a dragon next turn. We'll see. Puts out a dragon, I can board wipe. Got Rite of Oblivion. I really needed to. Dragon's Fire to Sorin. Oh, he's got a Junji. Okay. Alright, he got interesting now. I should write, but we're gonna make it interesting. I'm probably just gonna blood on this snow. We'll see. This is ranked. I see more try-hard decks in non-ranked games, really. It's just blood. Attack. You're gonna eat that damage. You don't want to block it, do you? so I can get my Sorin back. Judgy gets to do his thing. He doesn't have any good creatures anyway. Got his Zorn. Cool. Have your Zorn, dude. Ooh, Lolth next. So we got 3 Planeswalkers. He's at 13. Put an axe on his dude to attack my Sorin. Knowing that I got an Eyetwitch there. Doesn't have trample. Yeah, it's Necrotic Fumes. We can set the creature, who cares? Necrotic Fumes, gone. Yeah, scoop.